Well, the way we fund schools in the United States is far from ideal. We basically have a 50-state patchwork when it comes to education systems, and within each state we have a patchwork of counties or local systems. And in many states, as in Virginia, school boards and school districts are dependent on other government entities to raise money for us. So you have, and I don't, right away there, I think that's a bad idea, because if we're spending the money, we should have to raise it. We should be accountable to the community for all of that. But instead, we have this ongoing conversation where we feel like we have to justify spending on public schools. And depending on the community you're in, I think that's tough everywhere, but it's definitely tougher in some communities than others. So when you look at a map of the United States, sort of like a heat map of where local school systems are doing a good job of meeting needs and where they're not able to do a good job of meeting needs, you realize that we really have, that a kid's zip code has unfortunately a lot of influence on how well their school system, their classroom is funded. And that matters. Across the board in this country, I think you've seen over the last 10, maybe 20 years, an emphasis on accountability for schools, which is not a bad thing. Everybody wants accountability. But I think that has been used in a way to basically, by some political elements, to blame schools for all the problems in society. And once you've done that, it's hard then to convince people to continue to fund public schools. I mean, now, we have people who are in positions of power throughout the country referring to public schools as government schools, as if that's some kind of a slur, like you can't trust the government to do anything. And this constant harangue about bad teachers and bad schools and dropout factories. And it comes honestly from both sides of the aisle, or at least it has. And so I think, unfortunately, the accountability movement has been used as part of the narrative to say, blow up the system, stop funding bad education, privatize, and basically disrupt. Everybody wants to disrupt, and that's terrible for kids, and it's terrible for schools. We have to keep doing what we know we need to do. We have to be responsible with the public's money. We know that. We have to be good stewards of public funding, and we absolutely have paramount a duty of care to the children. But we can be held accountable in our local communities for that and still properly fund education.